Broadcasting Corporation and Globe My Business present Open for Business.
Greetings from the Philippines to the world. We are on Facebook Live on Eagle News and also on our streaming site, eaglenewslive.com. Watch us on our YouTube channel at Eagle News. I am Cesar Vallejos. Welcome to Open for Business. Join me to discover the latest news and information in business around the world. Stay ahead of the curve from vision to action. The country recently celebrated the National MSME Week 2020 with the theme MSME's Recovery to Resilience. It was a week that was commemorated to help MSMEs recover and promote their participation in economic activities. And as we conclude our Saludo SME features, Open for Business will again feature this conversation with an SME owner that highlights the road to recovery amidst the global pandemic. Today, in partnership with Globe My Business, we will be talking with another SME business owner who will share his insights on how technology can fuel the passion of SMEs and how resilient Filipinos are in facing the COVID crisis. Magno Edilberto Conag III, Nueca Technologies Incorporated, will join us when Open for Business returns. Stay with us.
Celebrities naman ang makikipagtagisan ng galing. Sino? Kina Ira Bermudez, Gabriel Umali, Jenny Gabriel, Miko Aitona, Hazel Faith, ang tatanghaling TNG Celebrity Grand Winner na mananalo ng 100,000 pesos at gayon din ang kanyang chosen beneficiary. With special performance from our TNG Jurados and our Celebrity Edition host, Ruru Madrid. Abangan yan dito lang sa Tagisan ng Galing Celebrity Edition. Tagisan ng Galing is presented by SMC Infrastructure, building a better world. Sandig sugar-free white coffee, puno ng white coffee taste without the sugar, kaya lower calories. Try mo na Sandig sugar-free white coffee. Sarap ng white coffee, now sugar-free. Vet-approved Nutrichos, the only premium dog food with active boost for optimum energy and prebiotics that help strengthen immunity. Just like Catherine Bernardo, gawing listo, ganado ang fur babies niyo. Listo ganado sa Nutrichos. Magnolia Chicken Templados, delicious, ready to cook and freshly marinated daily. Pure Foods Luncheon Meat, pure sarap for every family. Star Chunky Cheese Corned Beef, ang cheesy ng corned beef mo. Walang duda, kids can tell na #1 ang Pure Foods Tender Juicy. Ang tender, ang juicy, ang sarap. Co-presented by Cooper, expert in air conditioning and electromechanical. Also engaged in structural, electrical, fire protection, plumbing, and sanitary services. Cooper, your ultimate NEPs and air conditioning solutions. Ulan Incorporated International, fight against global poverty. New San Jose Builders Incorporated. Canrib Corporation, your ventilation and air conditioning specialist. Vita Herbs Philippines Green Coffee, masarap, mabango, at healthy pa. Puerto Rico Resort and Convention Center, Cabiao, Nueva Ecija. I love Puerto Rico. In participation with Philippine National Bank, masasandalan ng pamilyang Pilipino saan man sa mundo. PNB, you first.
Department of Health. Protektahan natin ang sarili at mga mahal sa buhay.
BIDA, Viva Solusyon sa COVID-19.
rain or shine elastomeric waterproofing paint. Matimco, R Square Variables Incorporated, Compizel Enterprises, Saisho International Trading Corporation, DN Steel, EMAC UPB Roof Corporation. East West Bank, your dream, our focus.
Listo at ganado ang baby ko sa vet-approved Nutri-Chunks. With active boost and prebiotics na pampalisto. Made with real meat, with essential nutrients to help them grow healthy and happy. Listo, ganado sa Nutri-Chunks.
Skyway Stages 1 and 2, the elevated toll road system project, run from a section of the South Luzon Expressway from Alabang to Magallanes, Makati. The Skyway Stage 3 is an elevated expressway connecting the South Luzon Expressway through the existing Skyway Stages 1 and 2 to the North Luzon Expressway via Balintawak. Skyway Stage 4 is an 80-kilometer mixed elevated and at-grade toll road that will connect the existing Skyway system starting from the FTI section all the way to Bulacan.
Hey, Aggression Ho here, and I'm a white coffee lover. Creamy kasi, and very yummy. Pero mas masarap kung hindi nakaka-guilty. Check my new discovery, Sandwich Sugar-Free White Coffee. Puno ng white coffee taste without the sugar, kaya lower calories. Try mo na! Sandwich Sugar-Free White Coffee. Sarap ng white coffee, now sugar-free.
Ikaw lang ang star ng buhay ko. Para sa akin, perfect ka. Ang cheesy ng corned beef mo. Pag Star Chunky Cheese Corned Beef, sarap ng corned beef, inangat pa ng real cheese cubes. Star Chunky Cheese Corned Beef.
Open for Business is back, and with me is the founder and the CEO of Nueca Technology Incorporated, Mr. Magno Idilberto Conag III. Hi, Magno. Good day to you.
Good day po.
I went to your website, and what interested me there was this statement, everybody wants to change the world, so do we. You said we're not in Silicon Valley, we're an 8-hour bus ride away from the country's capital, Manila, but we can change the world. This is very interesting, it's very inspiring because we are in a global pandemic and we want to create impact to change the world, to help SMEs in this case, as we salute our SMEs and celebrate the National MSME Week. What do you mean by we're not in Silicon Valley, but you wanted to change the world?
Well, in the tech startup community, it's always known that Silicon Valley is the place where most of the innovation actually happens, and that's in the USA. As a country, also in the Philippines, it's also very natural for everybody to think that most technology enterprises and innovation will also come from Manila. What we're trying to say there is, though we're very far from this, what you call, let's just say, technology entrepreneurship hubs, we may be 8 hours away by bus. We try our best to come up with our own innovation, despite our being very far from the hub. And that's basically what it means.
Yeah, that's very interesting. And I think with technology now, especially with the efforts of our partners, the tendency is that there's a lot of development in different regions, and not only here in Manila, but in different parts of the country. Before we go into the discussion of your business model, can you somehow describe the location where you at? Can you give us uh, uh, um, uh, the technology background of Naga and the Bicol region? So our SMEs also from different parts of the country can appreciate what you're doing in that part of the country.
Okay, Naga City is basically the heart of Bicol. Um, Being in this area, we're not technologically superior compared to probably Manila, Cebu, or Davao. Our internet speed here is not as competitive like those in BGC or Makati. We are frequently hit by typhoons. We're pretty much an agricultural province. In other words, it's very seldom, it's quite unnatural for technology, ideas, innovation, and all these kind of businesses to really flourish in this part of the country. So it's very unlikely. However, the way we look at it is that all the more, it's very critical, it's very essential that we try to develop technology and innovation and products related to software in this part of the country.
Mhm. Wow, Magno, you are probably one of the few people that we have featured here in Open for Business who's into app development. And with the many discussions about technology solutions, the key somehow in this age of mobile, in this age of in the age of e-commerce, are applications. In your case, in your software development and in your business model, what exactly is application development? What and you said that you are in your profile, your company is a startup and you're doing this application development. So far, what's the role of that in the way we do now, where all the transactions are done via mobile and via the internet?
Well, Nueca is pretty much an e-commerce company. We have built, operated, and maintained three e-commerce platforms, namely Tindahang Tapat, Hungryly, and Community Mart. So the whole idea is to bring businesses on an app so that all transactions will happen there. Tindahang Tapat is a platform where we serve several thousand sari-sari stores. When they run out of paninda, they order through our app, and then we deliver it to them for free. We're currently operating in Camarines Sur, Cavite, Batangas, and soon in few other provinces in the coming months. So that's Tindahang Tapat. The other one is Hungryly. It's a food delivery platform. We are currently helping over 120 restaurants in our area. Same principle. People are hungry. They want to buy and order food from their favorite local restaurant. The restaurants will receive their orders. They prepare it, and then we deliver it as well. Our latest baby is the third one, which is Community Mart. Pretty much like Hungryly, but instead of restaurants as our partners are local supermarts, grocery stores, hardware, department stores, official stores, a lot of stores, pet shops, and currently we have over 100 stores as well. So, but this time you order your grocery, you order your maybe chanelas, you order fresh market goods, fish, meat, vegetables, rice, eggs, poultry, and so on, and then we deliver it as well for free. So those are the three e-commerce platforms that Nueca built, operate, and maintain.
Magna, the way you describe these platforms, parang ito yung mga kailangan sa nangyayaring pandemic ngayon. Is it really, was it just a coincidence that you developed these apps, or it was really in your business plan to develop these platforms? What what's your inspiration in doing this? Is this also developed to address the issues of the pandemic that's currently experienced by the world now, or is it really something that you thought of from the very start? Because as we know, based on your discussion of Kam a while ago, you're a startup, and of course it was based on a specific interest and business model.
No, we did not develop these three for the reason of COVID and the crisis. Tindahang Tapat was the first platform we launched. We launched in January of 2018, and it's very clear to us that we really want to help the sari-sari store industry. Sari-sari store, they close their sari-sari store, they go out, they buy paninda from many sources, then they rent a cab, a tricycle, and then they go back, they put their inventory and open it again. So we really just want to crack that particular problem encountered by sari-sari store owners, the nanays. So no, we built it January of 2018, no COVID involved. Hungrily, same principle. When we built it, we really just want to help our local restaurants here. So we were the first app-based food delivery platform as well in Naga City. But of the three, Community Mart was pre-launched in February 15 of 2020, roughly few weeks before the COVID pandemic. I would say that of the three platforms, it was Community Mart that was really inspired and was forced to evolve by the pandemic. Community Mart was originally meant to serve groceries only. That was the whole design. But now we're in Community Mart. You can already buy hardware supplies, cement, even wood, furnitures, and many other things. So the pandemic kind of pushed us to evolve to allow non-grocery, non-supermarket, non-public market businesses to also onboard. And we said, I guess we need to do this because many businesses need our help. And so we did. Wow. So that's basically how this whole thing happened.
Wow, yeah, that's a good story. Sa kwento mo rin, Magno, it's like you are now somehow created you created an advocacy wherein you are making technology closer to the masses. Of course, we know that with the sari-sari stores, hindi naman yan hindi naman sila techie. Sabi mo nga, you mentioned of nanay in the sari-sari store. But of course, lalo na if you are a registered business owner, the more that you will go into the use of technology. Is that also somehow your advocacy to ensure that you bring technology down to the level of small businesses, to the micro entrepreneurs? What triggered you to do that? Of course, you mentioned about the pain point. You started with the essentials, but you discovered later on that the non-essential products and services are also joining you because of the need. So is this part of the plan of Nueka as an advocacy, or it's just one of your passions that, as you mentioned, you wanted to build your own Silicon Valley right there in Naga, and here we are now talking about it on national television?
No, the passion really is to make technology work for humanity. no particular plan as to for what particular target you really want to bring it. But me personally, I had that natural inclination to kind of solve difficult problems. Personally, if I see that the problem is not big enough or it's a problem that's easy to solve, my natural tendency is not to participate in cracking that particular problem. When I saw that the sari-sari store industry is one of the hardest problems to crack, it caught my attention, and I said, this is worth solving because it looks difficult. And so that's how we started Tindahang Tapat. The attraction was really seeing the daily struggle of a nanay, of a sari-sari store owner. They usually operate for a few months, and then after a few months they close down. It kind of attracted me to try to dig deep and try to understand what is it really like to operate a sari-sari store. And there I discovered the problems. We discovered it's not easy. We discovered problems with supply chain, and we discovered that they are the least high tech, very low tech kind of businesses, and yet they are 1.1 or so million all over the country. And if you only see how they are able to serve one every 5 to 10 families around them in a certain community, I said, this is really very interesting to crack. So let's put some energy and effort in trying to figure this out.
And then Magno, the news of small business owners closing down, the news of SMEs permanently closing shop, we are reading the impact of that, in the economy, and some may permanently close. And it's also good that we really highlight the passion and the resilience of SMEs. And there are many business owners also who have that kind of resilience to still pursue, to still look at various solutions. And I think with the startups, you call it the pivot strategy, where you really have to adapt immediately to what's happening around the world, and make sure that you are fast enough, you are agile enough to really shift your business model. What's the role of Nueca in that initiative? Do you think that with Nueca solutions you are able somehow to help them survive? You are able to give them that kind of platform to continue and have this inspire hope that there are other platforms that they can make use of, Magno?
Yes, Nueca started in January of 2018. The purpose of creating these 3 platforms was established pre-COVID. So the reason for being was quite different. But today we also evolved our reason for being. And one of our key roles now that we find ourselves in is to really be the e-commerce platforms that can support businesses operate. And we have never ever felt this relevant and helpful to the local business community other than these recent months. The mere fact that you're right, many businesses are closing. In Naga alone, we've heard of already more than 5 local restaurants that have ceased to operate. And all the more we feel that Hungrily, our food delivery platform, should be able to help them continue revenue so that they can also keep their people. Hungrily, I'll reveal to you now, we only charge a commission of 10%. And basically that's all. Many restaurants here lost their dine-in revenue. So everything is now dependent on delivery revenue. And we find Hungrily as capable of being able to provide that. For Community Mart, same principle. Their walk-in customers are significantly down. So, but with Community Mart, we're able to bring them closer to their customers. Orders keeps coming in, and so revenue continues as well. They have evolved as well. Like they have significantly evolved. Many restaurants now are realizing that they probably don't need to maintain the same dine-in real estate space. In fact, some of our restaurant customers are operating from home. After all, in the food delivery service, the customers don't really need to see the restaurant itself. So you see, they are also forced to evolve. So that's one example in the restaurant. In our grocery delivery operation as well, we are observing that they don't really need to operate the full supermarket. The whole grocery supplies that we deliver to customers can actually come from a warehouse because customers don't really care where they're kept. So this whole thing, the evolution that we are forced to get into, isn't only true for Nueca, but it's also true for all the business partners we're in. Now, for business partners that are in Community Mart, Hungrily, or Tindahang Tapat, we're beginning to see that those who are able to thrive and succeed this crisis are those who are able to evolve fast. Like I said, for the resto, those who shift from home food preparation works well. Supermarkets that evolve to warehouse operation also works well.
Okay, wow. That's interesting, Magno. Pero, ang tanong, there is a requirement there, especially if you shift, and I think the buzzword now is digital transformation. If you are not digitally ready, medyo maiiwan ka. So in your case, the name, technology is in your name and probably in your DNA. So in the evolution of SMEs, in their way towards the embrace of digital technology, paano yung na-influence ng Nueca yun? Somehow in your experience in Naga, how did you what is that? Who are the partners involved? What specific technology requirements were needed or are still needed to ensure that when they shift, when they evolve towards digital transformation, it will work for them?
Well, internet connectivity is top-notch. The very first requirement. It's like the very basic requirement. So that's one. A mobile device is another one. At the least, those two things are the only minimum requirements that we really require of all our partners. Now, once you have those two, the non-technology aspect that's required is the evolution of their current business processes to something that is designed and compatible to e-commerce. Those are the two components. On the technology side, of course, the gadgets, the devices. Internet connectivity is the second. When you have these two, it's not yet a guarantee. There is a need for them to be open to changing their ways of doing things, operations in particular, so that the yin and yang of the two will perfectly work for reviving the business. To explain this clearly, it's like this. So, if you're running a grocery store right now, you want to join Community Mart. Do you have the gadget? Sure. Do you have internet connectivity? Sure. What if I tell you that you might want to evolve your well-lit, beautiful supermarket into a warehouse? Are you willing? Chances are you would say, no. The reason why I'm urging you to shift to a warehouse operation is simple. Because the customers and e-commerce don't really care about how your supermarket looks like. Now, if you will not shift, if you will not change, then you are spending a lot on beautification, lighting, shelving, and so on. So it will, technology, Community Mart, Nueca, internet, gadget, remains to be unmaximized if you will still stick to the current way of your doing business. So that's one example. To apply the same principle, look at restaurants. Okay, you have internet connectivity, you have mobile devices, you have Nueca's Hungrily. Now, if you still operate the food preparation in your existing restaurant, that's not going to work as well. Why? Because of the cost of the real estate that you're maintaining. So again, when the grocery store shifts to warehouse, perhaps the restaurant has to shift as well to a cloud kitchen, aka a restaurant with very little seats for dine-in. So you see the success, the ability to survive does not only rely on innovation, but also on the willingness to shift, to evolve the business processes and models.
Yeah, speaking of business processes and models, and you mentioned about devices, you mentioned about internet, you mentioned about connectivity. Some of the SMEs think that it's an expense rather than an investment. With our partnership with Globe My Business, so far, what digital solutions have you used, and how do you apply Globe My Business solutions to your business? And so, what's the impact in terms of investment against expense? Because you mentioned you have to really shift your thinking now, your mindset, and if you will be able, and if you have to spend for something, you should really have to think more about it. Are you really getting that value now for the expense? And what technology investments should SMEs think about to make sure that their evolution towards digital transformation will create an impact, Magno?
Particularly for Nueca, our investments, especially services that we avail from Globe My Business, includes several. The most classic of which is your only call and text. Okay, so we are maintaining several lines, and we have increased those lines primarily because our business also grew roughly 6 times before the pandemic and the current situation. So now we make a lot of customer service calls. So Globe only call and text is very essential in being able to serve our customers. That's one. Second, the SMS blast, the Globe SMS API that allows us to blast SMS announcement to our customers when we have discounts, promos, critical announcement, for example, related to pause in operation because new cases of infection is declared in the city, and all of these things. So that's the second one. It's very useful for us. Of course, internet connectivity in the office and was also another investment that we keep. But in the recent weeks, I'm beginning to learn that the services that we have been availing with Globe has to kind of evolve as well. I'm not sure if Globe has these services already, but in my head, it looks like this. We used to subscribe to a Globe Internet and other services, and all of them are concentrated in the office. But only a quarter of our team reports to the office these past several weeks. So perhaps we will transition to providing, let's say, Globe Internet services to the homes of our work from home team members.
That's
And
right.
it's quite a challenge because when you look at it from a Globe My Business perspective, technically that's not a business, that's a home. But you see, that alone is an evolution in itself.
Yeah.
Like if I'm the CEO, but I'm willing to kind of provide internet, Globe My Business internet services to to the homes of our teammates. So these things also shows that there are forced evolution.
Thank you so much, Magno. I have more questions, but let's pause for these reminders. Open for business. We'll return. Stay with us.
Tomorrow, tomorrow, I love ya. Tomorrow, you're always a day away.
Malaking parte ng pamumuhay namin ang agrikultura. Sa mother side ko, ang kanilang kalakal ay animal husbandry. Sila po ay nag-aalaga ng mga baka. Magmula po sa Pangasinan, napunta po ng Nueva Ecija. Ang father side ko naman po, mula po sa Spain, pagdating nila dito sa Pilipinas, sila po yung tinatawag na uring may lupa. Talagang nabuhay po kami, ibinuhay po sa amin ang agrikultura. Mga mahal kong kababayan, ito po si Robin Padilla, inaanyayahan ko po kayong manood ng Unlad, Kaagapay sa Hanap Buhay. Dito po sa Net 25.
May kaagapay sa hanap buhay.
Eagle Broadcasting Corporation and Globe My Business present Open for Business.
Open for Business is back, and still with me is Magno Edilberto Conag III, the founder and CEO of Nueca Technology Incorporated. Magno, we left off on the discussion on, of course, technology and digital transformation, and really highlighting how important technology is in evolving your business. After launching, those three platforms, what's your roadmap? But before you answer that, naalala ko lang, sinabi mo kasi kanina, I think you mentioned this off-cam. You said, when you developed this app, you also offered it to LGUs, to the local government units, but there was no response. And then you, as passionate as you are, you really opened it up to others until someone really appreciated the system. Ganon ba talaga? Should entrepreneurs or startups like you, is this some kind of a tip to them na dapat pag try ka ng isa, pag hindi ka pinansin ng isang LGU halimbawa, ng isang kliyente, you really have to maximize all your other all your network to somehow ensure that you will hit at least one, and then eventually, if someone will pick it up, it will grow. What's your story on this app development, wherein you found, you developed this app, you think it's really beautiful, but when you offered it to the market, walang kumukuha until finally someone had to do it. What's your story on that before you go into?
I guess what we were sharing off cam was the story of Community Mart for public markets. Okay, so like I've shared, Community Mart was relaunched in February 15. Prior to that, we already saw that it's perhaps good to have the public market in Naga City to be on the platform. By putting the public market into the platform, people can now order fresh fish, meat, eggs, vegetable, and so on, and have them delivered to the household. The reception was quite lukewarm, primarily, I guess, for two reasons. One, what's the point of putting the public market on e-commerce? People are not used to it. Second, there doesn't seem to be a significant need. But when the crisis happened, I immediately went to the mayor of Naga City, Mayor Nelson Legacion, and told him that we've got to do this. We've got to do this because tricycle drivers told us are out of jobs. We've got to do this because the public market vendors are running low on sales. Their inventories are getting damaged, and because there's a cordon limits as well placed around the public markets. Wala, mabilis lang. In 30 minutes time, Mayor Nelson asked me if I can drive straight to his office. He immediately called for his public market officer and few other personnel, including the traffic management group. And so that's it. Next day, less than 24 hours, the Naga City People's Mall or the Naga City Public Market was already on Community Mart, and transactions started to happen. And even the vendors themselves were like surprised because the walk-ins are very little, and yet they're getting orders through Community Mart. And so all the tricycle drivers, the Toda, they have jobs because they're delivering fish, vegetables to the household. So when we saw this succeed in several days, it was natural for me to think that whatever is the struggle of the Naga City public market and the local government must be the same struggle that all other LGUs are experiencing at this moment. At that point, I started drawing diagrams saying that this is your TODA who are jobless, this is your public market vendor, but they need a bridge to kind of be the middleman to help in the operation, and that's the LGU through the public market office. So that drawing, plus the caption and explanation, I started sending as an email to every LGU I can find on Facebook. But I did not get a lot of responses, probably because everyone is, battling to contain the crisis. And what I sent them is probably the least of the priority at that moment, and that's perfectly okay. On the other hand, it came to my mind that I probably need to reach out to the office of the Vice President, Lenny Robredo. And I know a few guys working with her, a few volunteers. And so I sent a message. They were too busy, but they noticed it 7 days after. I got a call, and they said, we got your drawings and this and that. And they say, Vice President Lenny is very excited to get it executed. He sees how many TODAs, vendors will be helped. It will keep their income. It will keep people staying inside their homes. And so a few hours after, there's already a team of volunteers, and in less than 48 hours, we're go live. So it's the fastest government, it's the fastest, I would say, government-related group. It's the fastest response I've ever gotten from a government-related group, aside from the group of our city mayor here in Naga City.
Yeah, Magno, when you discuss app development, it seems very easy, but definitely there's a lot of sweat and probably tears and blood, that has been done in that app development. Can you give me a run through of how app development is done? And do you have a large team? You need a lot of people doing that? And of course, again, what's the role of technology in it? Do you have, again, to really spend so much in terms of technology, in terms of computers, or a lot of other technology requirements to go into that app development?
Yes, there's a lot of investments required. Our biggest investments is really on engineering. We have a lot of developers for Apple iOS, Android, cloud application development, the infrastructure, many things. Nueca right now is close to a group of, we're over 60 people now, probably close to 70. So yes, there's a lot of investments there. you try your best to get the best and the brightest programmers, developers, so that we can come up with the software. So it usually works like this. You have this idea, for example, the public market, how can we bring them to e-commerce? And so you try to draw it on paper and imagine how the whole process will flow. And then you work out with the engineering team as to how those drawings, those designs will need to be implemented in the app. So how can people tap this and that to order and check out and so on. And so they quickly go on with the development, and then we test and then we deploy. It's the whole engineering process that's also very costly. But aside from that, there's the operational aspect to it. For example, in the public market, all right, they ordered. So what now? Like, who gets the fish? Who gets the vegetable? Do you combine it with the eggs? And then how do you pack it? And so now this is the bag. So how do you call the toda to ready it and bring it to the customer, the payment, and also all of this, this whole complexity is very interesting to solve.
Yeah, but for SMEs again, Magno, I'm speaking of expense versus investment. What's your take on that? Like, say, in your field, of course, there's a lot of investments because it's really what is needed. And you are also looking at the long term. But in terms of SMEs spending on technology as an investment, what's your take on that?
Well, obviously, this crisis has made it very clear to us all that every business now is a technology-driven business. I can no longer imagine a business without an internet. Like, everybody needs to have internet connectivity and a very reliable connection at that. Mobile devices, gadget, obviously turned out to be a very basic requirement as well. Now, many businesses are saying that it's just an expense. They've got to let go of the old ways of thinking. COVID crisis has shown that if you don't embrace technology, it's
You
not
will
going to
die.
work. It's not going to work. So, and this is also true. Like I mentioned before the COVID crisis, the reception, the acceptance of our e-commerce platform was not that high. But when the COVID crisis happened, well, we were kidding before the crisis. We were even saying, let's put a billboard on the in strategic places around town. But we could not justify the cost. So we said, no billboards. When the crisis broke, when the ECQ was declared, no billboard required. All businesses naturally appreciated our e-commerce platform, and we've grown 6 times.
Wow.
Before the COVID crisis, we were only operating in Naga. Now we're all over Bicol region except Catanduanes and Masbate. We're now operating in Pasig and Quezon City, which is just a dream for us. We're 8 hours away. So all businesses that we have partnered with realizes that there is a need to evolve. Even if you're very old school, at the least, please make an investment on internet and connectivity. Mobile devices is the second.
And you also mentioned earlier, Maglo, that your in terms of your people, in terms of the company structure, a lot of people now, a lot of employees also adopt work from home. With our partners in technology, what do you think would be the best technologies that can be tapped if you're from work from home? Do you also plan of, like, say, getting prepaid kits or any available technologies for the work from home model? Kasi kahit dito sa opisina namin ngayon, only for 50% or even lesser have to report to work, we really have these health protocols, very strict health protocols, to make sure that we follow the government rules on this. In terms of work from home, do you think this is also the future of work?
Well, Obviously, it is the future of work, but personally, I don't want this to be the future of work. I still prefer facing my people, seeing them smile, and getting to hear their stories. What happened last night? How's your kids? And this and that.
Yeah.
But we have kind of accepted that this is really the way to survive. And so we kind of supported some of our people, especially the critical roles, to have prepaid broadbands. We have a couple of Globe Wi-Fi, Globe LTE routers with a very huge. I think that's 30 gigabyte, which we hardly consume. So we have several of those to be able to operate in. At least we have 3 different locations right now. Like I mentioned, we have food delivery and grocery delivery operations. We try to distribute the entire team across 3 locations, and each of the locations has to have internet connectivity there. We're using Globe prepaid. It's prepaid, but it's actually under Globe Business postpaid. Yeah. So those allows us to operate.
Very interesting. Before we let you go, we're running out of time. Our, you're one of the entrepreneurs who really showed this passion and resilience, and it's also very interesting that you mentioned that with the global pandemic, your apps, your application is work to ensure that it helps SMEs, also it helps the citizens, it helps consumers in the way they deal with the new normal. Before we let you go, Magno, what are your tips to the fellow SMEs, to your fellow SMEs now who are watching? How will they survive the global pandemic? What should be their mindset? How would they go through it? How will they face the many challenges that are now happening in the business world?
Recently, I was at the gathering of business owners here in Naga, and one of our colleagues mentioned that when you run your daily operational cost, you will end up, it's going to be way higher than the actual revenue that you get every day you operate. So his advice was, you might as well close down, let everything settle, and then reopen. See you after 18 to 24 months. I see that as a very logical move, especially when you compute, when you run through the numbers. But personally, I would not want to suggest it. Let's say my battle cry is, try to operate. This is not the time to make money, actually. This is the time to get together and survive. Simply because there are many people, especially daily wage earners, who rely on our day-to-day operation. Not so much on the profit. Just operate, break even, be able to provide jobs. Because that little contribution to the normalcy keeps the community order and calm, and we are able to avert social disorder. I think that's one of the key responsibilities and challenges now of every entrepreneur. I know we're business people. We want to make profit, but the least of the contributions we can make, that's very essential, is to operate, break even at the least, so that we are able to contribute to the social order and calm.
Thank you very much, Magno. That's a great way to end this conversation. And I would like to thank the sales team of Globe My Business, Miss Sarah, Miss Gail, and Miss Mitch for making this interview with you possible. That's Mr. Magno Edilberto Conag III, the founder and CEO of Nueca Technologies Incorporated. Thank you very much, Magno. Open for Business will be back. Stay with us.
Mula sa libu-libong auditionees, umabot na tayo sa ating top 5.
Angel Nicole Francisco, Cosmic Angels, Power Duo, Jonah Chris Bandilio, Adrian Oclarino.
At ngayong Lunes, sila ay maghaharap-harap para sa inaasam na 2 million pesos at tanghaling ultimate grand winner. This is it. This is the Judgment Day, with special performances of our TNG Horados and our very special guest, Marcelito Pomoy. Ito na ang pinaka-aabangang Grand Showdown. This is Tagisan ng Galing, the Grand Finale, July 27, 7:30 p.m. Dito lang sa Net 25. Tagisan ng Galing is presented by SMC Infrastructure, building a better world. Sandig sugar-free white coffee, puno ng white coffee taste without the sugar, kaya lower calories. Try mo na Sandig sugar-free white coffee. Sarap ng white coffee, now sugar-free. Vet-approved NutriChocs, the only premium dog food with active boost for optimum energy and prebiotics that help strengthen immunity. Just like Catherine Bernardo, gawing listo, ganado ang fur babies niyo. Listo ganado sa NutriChocs. Magnolia Chicken Templados, delicious, ready to cook and freshly marinated daily. Pure Foods Luncheon Meat, pure sarap for every family. Star Chunky Cheese Corned Beef, ang cheesy ng corned beef mo. Walang duda, kids can tell na #1 ang Pure Foods Tender Juicy. Ang tender, ang juicy, ang sarap. Co-presented by Cooper, expert in air conditioning and electromechanical. Also engaged in structural, electrical, fire protection, plumbing, and sanitary services. Cooper, your ultimate MEPS and air conditioning solutions. Unlad Incorporated International, fight against global poverty. New San Jose Builders Incorporated. Canrib Corporation, your ventilation and air conditioning specialist. Vita Herbs Philippines Green Coffee, masarap, mabango, at healthy pa. Puerto Rico Resort and Convention Center, Cabiao, Nueva Ecija. I love Puerto Rico. In participation with Philippine National Bank, masasandalan ng pamilyang Pilipino saan man sa mundo. PNB, you first.
Protektahan natin ang sarili at mga mahal sa buhay.
Pinasolusyon sa COVID-19. Rain or Shine Elastomeric Waterproofing Paint. Matimco. R Square Variables Incorporated. Compizel Enterprises. Saisho International Trading Corporation. DN Steel. EMAC UPB Roof Corporation. East West Bank. Your dream, our focus.
Listo at ganado ang baby ko sa vet-approved NutriChocs.
With active boost and prebiotics na pampalisto.
Made with real meat, with essential nutrients to help them grow healthy and happy. Listo, ganado sa NutriChocs.
The South Luzon Expressway, a 36-kilometer long road that runs from Alabang to Santo Tomas, Batangas, connects several commercial and residential areas in the Greater Manila and the provinces of Laguna, Cavite, and Batangas. This will soon be extended all the way to the province of Quezon.
Hey, Gretchen Ho here, and I'm a white coffee lover. Creamy kasi, and very yummy. Pero mas masarap kung hindi nakaka-guilty. Check my new discovery, San-Made Sugar-Free White Coffee. Puno ng white coffee taste without the sugar, kaya lower calories. Try mo na! San-Made Sugar-Free White Coffee. Sarap ng white coffee, now sugar-free.
Bakit natin ipinagluluto ang mga mahal natin? We want them to feel special. Sa meaty luncheon meat that we serve. If your pure intentions had a taste, it would taste like Pure Foods. Pure sarap, Pure Foods luncheon meat.
And our term of the week is software development. Software development is a process of developing software through successive phases in an orderly way. This process includes not only the actual writing of code, but also the preparation of requirements and objectives, the design of what is to be coded, and confirmation that what is developed has met objectives. Before systems development methods came into being, the development of new systems or products was often carried out by using the experience and intuition of management and technical personnel. However, the complexity of modern systems and computer products long ago made a clear need for some kind of orderly development process. In general, the development of commercial software is usually a result of demand in the marketplace, while enterprise software development generally arises from a need or a problem within the enterprise environment. And our word of the week is from Yasmin Mogahed. She said, resilience means you experience, you feel, you fail, you hurt, you fall, but you keep going. Thank you for watching Open for Business. Join us again in the next episodes of Open for Business for more insights from CEOs, thought leaders, industry experts, and SMEs promoting business development in the Philippines. See you again every Saturday and Sunday here in Open for Business, where we discuss business information, deliver the latest business news to keep you informed in Open for Business, and be ahead of the curve from vision to action. You're on Facebook Live on Eagle News, and you can watch this again in the video section of the Eagle News Facebook page and on eaglenewslive.com. Subscribe to our YouTube channel at Eagle News. For Open for Business, this is Cesar Vallejos. We live in interesting times. Have a great day.
Eagle Broadcasting Corporation and Globe My Business present Open for Business.
On July 27, President Rodrigo Duterte will once again address the nation. Be the first to know about the upcoming policies